And we are officially live on TikTok and YouTube. Let me just do one quick sound check here. But I am very excited for this draft tonight. Let me just get this out. Let me just make sure this is working. But how are we doing so far if you join in while we're getting started? But I am. All right, awesome. QA has been confirmed. If you join on TikTok and the audio doesn't sound too great because I'm going off my phone, please check out the link on my YouTube channel. Because this is going to be as good of a stream as I've ever put together in that perspective. So I'm pretty stoked for it. The Giants are picking 5 and 10 at this draft. Let me get my opening monologue here before we kind of dive into things. Wait, hold on. I just gotta figure. Audio's going crazy. Oh wait. Sorry, I'm just working through the audio here. Should be okay. Cool. So, what I wanted to talk about before we dive into things here right off the bat is that this is a turning point for the New York Giants this upcoming draft. Firing Dable last year, getting rid of Shane Bowen, turning the page, and being fully on board with the 2026 season being under the helm of John Harbaugh is making me optimistic. But what really is making me optimistic moving forward is the ability of quarterback Jackson Dart. Now, this is going to be an interesting point in this draft, drafting 5 and 10 overall, is will the Giants pull the trigger on an offensive player? Some of those offensive players that are going to be up there and could be selected by the Giants being Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame. The Giants have been speaking very highly of him. The Giants always love Notre Dame guys, the front office, the Maras. It's like an Irish Catholic thing. I'm not exactly sure why, but it's just what the Irish Catholics like. Notre Dame, Rudy, I don't know, whatever you want to put it as. But Jeremiah Love could be a Giant very quickly in this draft. I personally hope he goes to the Titans, bro. Imagine if we kissed or something like that. Thanks, Hunter. I personally wish that the Titans take Jeremiah Love at 4 overall because I think it's a great compliment for Cam Ward and that new offense for the Titans. And Brian Dable's had young running backs, right? He had Saquon in his prime, so he knows kind of how to make them work. But that really removes the running backs from the top of the board. There aren't going to be too many other running backs going high in this draft. At least like in the top 10 where the Giants are going to be drafted. Patriots going to draft Fernando. He's falling late. Hunter, stop trolling me already. We just started. And then let me talk about a couple of the offensive weapons here. Jordan Tyson, his name has been thrown around extensively with the Giants. I don't like him at 5. I'm not going to have a crash out if they pick him, but my bad, King. I got you, bro. But I'm not going to crash out if the Giants draft Jordan Tyson at 5, but he is someone who makes me very worried with his injury problems and his history, even though some of them have been fluke, crazy ass injuries. I don't see him playing a 17 game season. I also don't see him warrant being drafted 5 or 10 overall. If guys have paid attention to my channel at all, I really haven't been too big on any of the wide receivers in the top 10 picks. So, and here's one thing that I saw recently. Yeah, we got 5 and 10 is one thing that I was thinking about recently. And as a Giants fan, what has driven us insane over the years? Well, shitty cornerback play, Deontay Banks being up there, Adebo being terrible. And then what also kills seasons for the Giants specifically, but maybe for your team, is terrible offensive line play. So I think it might be boring, but if you want to take the offensive tackle from Miami, I'm there for it. Or the Penn State guard at 10, even though 10 is a high place to take a guard. I'm fine taking it too, because one thing that we cannot have a regression is up front with Jackson Dart entering his sophomore campaign. It would be just because, and just because the Giants had one good season from an offensive line standpoint after years of terrible offensive line play, I don't want us to get cocky and think that this isn't something that, is going to be good this season just because it was okay last year. And what I mean by that is there's no right guard on the team currently. You have Evan Neal and Falele from the Ravens. I'm not sold on either of those guys playing right guard. And if the Giants don't take Ionone or whatever his name is from Penn State at 10, I hope they could take Emmanuel Pregnon at 37 overall. The whole Giants franchise will average the age of 25 if you'll keep this up. It worked for OKC in the NBA. What do you mean, just being younger? I mean, getting rid of Dexter, he was I think 28 or 29. But I'm excited about this draft specifically, especially with that trade, getting the 10th overall pick. We had 5 already. Pretty jacked up there. And I gotta say, I'm pretty jacked up. I hope I can get some people coming in on YouTube, dropping it in the comments because I think my setup right now on YouTube for streaming might be the best stream I've ever set up. So let's see how it does. Stocking on my draft picks and rebuilding through the draft. Yeah, I mean, Hunter, that's the way they do it, right? You don't want to start paying guys in free agency because, especially as a Giants fans, like, so we tend to really shit the bed in free agency, and especially during the Dave Gettleman era, people rag on Dave Gettleman. He was good at drafting. He drafted Andrew Thomas. He drafted Dexter Lawrence. He drafted Saquon, right? It's where he really fell off was picking people who to pay exorbitant amounts of money to. That being Kenny Galladay, that being Nate Solder. They made Nate Solder the highest to address the offensive line, right? They can never do it through the draft. They said, we're going to pay up. We're going to pay up a lot of money for Nate Solder, make him the highest paid tackle in the league. Nate Solder sucked. COVID happened. He sat out because I think his son was sick. So, which I totally understand. But Nate Solder, once he left, and that's what the Patriots do. They get rid of guys that, kind of hit their cap. Riley, thoughts on Odell? Oh, man. It depends on what age you are and how you're going to feel about it. I think Odell is probably cooked as an actual player. Would it make me happy to see him wear one final time wearing Giants blue? Yes, but I think that time period was probably a couple years ago when the team has been sucking, right? So, like, it would have been fine to do the reunion now. I think, Riley, my main point with Odell coming back at this point in time is we have turned the chat. We're in the next chapter of the Giants' history, and I think Odell had his chapter. He'll always be a locker room guy. We'll love seeing the one-handed catches before games. But I think now is not the right time to do it. Solder was well enough with us. It's weird to see New England with a bad line because we never had that problem. Yeah, New England does a good job up front, especially from the offensive line perspective. Like, they've always had good linemen. And there was one really huge offensive lineman who was like a tackle, and I think he got paid by the Raiders, and he sucked so bad on the Raiders that went back to the Pats and was good again, which was kind of crazy. But Riley, what are your thoughts? You want Odell back? I mean, the realistic part of myself with Odell knows that it's over for him. But would it be fun? Yeah, but I think the time's just passed. Guy, let me see. Who is I gotta look this up for you, Hunter. Who is it? Patriots offensive tackle. To Raiders. Who am I thinking of? Not Heron. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the Raiders. I feel like they had a sick offensive tackle that went somewhere else. Who do you want the Patriots to draft? Where are the Patriots? I mean, I guess the Patriots are drafting 31. All right, Goodell's at the podium. I don't think I could give any audio. I might try to do some audio if you're on TikTok, you're not going to get any audio because it's coming through my headset. But which is why I'm so pissed I couldn't figure out how to get this to go. Because the vertical stream also on looks awesome. I guess if I could show you real quick, like how much better this actually looks. Hold on. For my setup. I don't think I can flip my camera, but like this just looks so much better. I got the little overlay, which I thought came out awesome. But I heard we might draft down. I don't know if that's true from Riley. It doesn't make sense for getting the 10th pick. Yeah, Riley, here's another thing. Hopefully the Giants are never drafting in the top 10 overall again, which is why I probably think what are the biggest draft needs for teams in the top 10? I think it's secondary and tackle, right? So if we could nail one of those, I would absolutely love getting Caleb Downs. I think for me personally, I don't care if it's too high to draft a safety. Caleb Downs is my pick at 5 overall. And then at 10, tackle, cornerback. Yeah, Brady, to your point, if we take Mansour Delaney from LSU, you just made our secondary so much better for the future. One less thing to, I don't want to say worry about, because when we watch guys play in the Giants secondary, they're constantly getting hurt. I saw the funny, so they're just showing Fernando Mendoza and his family. They all look all buttoned up and stuff, but I saw the funniest picture on X before that was of Fernando Mendoza building a Lego set before the draft today, and I was like, he's especially unique dude. He has like major Tim Tebow energy for me, except he's actually way better than Tim Tebow. We need a corner safety. Yeah, Brady, I agree with you. And then how's the draft going right now? It started. I have it open, so I'm watching it, and I'll give play-by-play commentary over it as the first couple of picks come up, which is kind of annoying. If you go to my YouTube, I actually have a picks on the side, and then also my big board personally overlaid, which came out awesome. I'm trying to see if there's anyone even on the chat on stream. How do you feel about the OBJ speculations? Brady, I just spoke about it, but I mean, I'll always love Odell. I mean, I know you young guys absolutely like Odell was such a special part of your guys' probably childhood. If you're young, if you're like born in 2004 and you were like 10 when Odell came around, and like you're really getting into your peak NFL fandom, and Odell is the guy you get to watch, how do you not want him back? And I see that stuff. But I also had a lot of special guys that obviously weren't as good as Odell, but I loved Amani Toomer. I loved Ike Hilliard. But I think the time's passed. I think the Giants might actually do it based on all of the fire that's currently there. Like usually when there's smoke, there's fire. There's a lot of smoke right now for the OBJ stuff. So maybe they re-sign him, but I think he's honestly cooked. Would it be a feel-good story? I guess. Do we need feel-good stories? No, I want to start winning again because I'm sick of a little bit of nostalgia bait and all that. I just want to win. I want to win football games. If Odell can help us win football games, and he's better than Darius Slayton, he's better than Darnell Mooney, and he's better than whatever, Isaiah Hodgins, Gunnar Olszewski, any of these bums that we have currently at wide receiver, then sign them. Patriots get Kyle Pitts and AJ Brown, so I think we have a focus on defense and the O-line. How are they going to get Pitts? And I saw the AJ Brown stuff, but Odell would sell jerseys and tickets. People are always going to go to Giants games until they kind of really suck. But he would sell some jerseys, I guess. I don't know. Doubt he would play much. Yeah, I mean, who knows to even say what Odell has left in the tank to even play. But if he's better than Darius Slayton, play him. I don't care. I don't know Darius. No one knows Darius Slayton anything. And, if he's going to act like he's a starter and Odell comes in and is better, then let him play. Falcons and Patriots been talking. New England's willing to trade a Booty and some picks. Booty was good, I thought. I think you guys liked him. I went to the Giants-Pats game on Monday night. A bunch of my buddies from college are all Patriots fans, and it was fun for them. It wasn't really fun for your boy, Average Bob, over here. Booty is great. Our receiving depth is nuts. We don't have good tight ends. Yeah, who's Hunter Henry? Hunter Henry's solid. I mean, no one really has good tight ends. Think about it. That's just the truth, man. That's just the truth. He's solid, but he's getting older. Story of all of our lives. Oops. Yeah, this is what's a pain. I wanted to get the stream going vertically through my OBS software, but that didn't happen. So we're just going with off my phone for TikTok, YouTube. Honestly, has the best setup I've ever done for a live stream. So I hope more people join. Okay, Odell. You guys got me talking about Odell so much. Goodell is coming to the podium. The Raiders picks in. Fernando Mendoza, number 1 to the Raiders. So where he just seems like such a good kid. I'm kind of happy for him. Where everyone was ragging on the Raiders a little bit for paying up for the center Linderbaum from the Ravens. I thought it was an absolute kind of no-brainer move for them to do because they have Gene, and the Raiders' offensive line was absolutely bottom of the barrel last season. So if you pay up for a center, whatever, you overpaid, but you have a guy now that is going to make your second-year running back's life easier because he had nowhere to run last year. Now you have the number 1 pick in the draft in Fernando Mendoza to play quarterback. An experienced center will do a lot for a young quarterback. Jesus. This is gonna be annoying. But it's funny. So, funny story for you guys. It's getting hot in here, so I'm just gonna take this off. But my college coach was Fernando Mendoza's high school coach. Fun little story for you there. It was my college head coach. He ended up going to a couple other colleges, and then I think he's just gotten older, and then took a job coaching high school football in Miami. It's Christopher Columbus High School, where Fernando Mendoza was the quarterback. So pretty funny story. So he coached 2 great players, Fernando Mendoza and your boy Average Bob. No, Fernando Mendoza absolutely balled out in that natty. That one run at the end of the game was just absolutely awesome. Speaking of guys on the other side of the ball, I saw a lot of just absolute late round smoke or whatever it is for smoke screens just coming in for Carson Beck, and I'm like, Carson Beck is not good at all. I don't think he has enough to get into the first round, let alone why would a team waste a draft pick on Carson Beck? I know people are very quarterback needy, but I'm not wasting any of my picks on Carson Beck. What really rubbed me wrong about Carson Beck outside of his plays and clutch moments was after when he would throw an interception to lose to Louisville or in the national championship. He never took any accountability in the post-game press conferences. He would always blame his own guys and stuff. I really, really didn't like that. And that really rubbed me the wrong way. And on top of his play, I don't think he's that good anyway. So kind of, a double whammy for him. I wouldn't waste a pick on him, but the Cleveland Browns are always in the NFL and they have a draft pick every year. So never rule out anything with them. All right. The Jets are on the clock. My boys, the crosstown Jets. No, I don't know what the Jets. It seems like they're between David Bailey and Arvell Reese at the edge rusher position. Yeah, George. I don't know what the Jets are going to do. It's really between what it seems like Reese and Bailey. Bailey being a little bit older, Reese being a little bit younger and more raw. Bailey seemed a little bit more, I guess, polished, or just being older a little bit. I don't know. More, what's the word? I don't know. More, I don't want to say studied, but seems a little bit more put together than Reese. But that could just be someone being 23 versus 21 or something. Yeah. I don't know. This is what's crazy though about the NFL is I, I feel like the Jets sucked so bad this last year that like, and they're not going to come away with that big of a piece. Like, I don't think either of these guys are like that great, and they're going to go 2 overall. They can develop Reese, yeah, they can, but Aaron Glenn's not going to make it through this whole next season. They don't have a quarterback. Aaron Glenn is going to get canned, and then it's like, you know, then what? It is the Jets, though. The Jets have 2 first-round picks like the Giants. Okay. Jets are up. See what we got. Just going to turn up the audio here. Goodell's at the podium. David Bailey over Arvell Reese. A Texas Tech, guns up, going 2nd overall. Didn't really waste too much time on that, huh? George, are you a Jets fan? A lot of my friends are Jets fans. My friend, I grew up Commanders. Sorry. Um, yeah, I grew up on Long Island, so my friend group is pretty split. Jets versus Giants. What pick are the Commanders? Are they like 8 or 9 or something? I respect Jaden Daniels. I think he's really good, but he's got to learn to slide too. Like him and Jackson Dart are a little bit. They get really into. They try to run people over, and when you're a tinier young quarterback, you gotta slide. You gotta learn to slide, otherwise you're not gonna last long. What's my prediction for the Commanders, dude? The one thing why I'm buying the Giants to win the NFC East this next season is because, um, when you look at the division, right, the Giants haven't won the NFC East since 2011, where they went on to win the Super Bowl. They haven't won since. The Eagles were the first team to repeat in I think like 20 something years. The Eagles have had so much crazy shit already happen their entire offseason so far. Everyone's turning on Jalen Hurts, even though I kind of respect Jalen Hurts, and it reminds me a little bit of like how everyone would treat Eli every offseason. So I have a little empathy for Jalen Hurts, but it seems like with AJ Brown forcing his way out, people still don't respect that coach Sirianni. So I think the Eagles are definitely due for a down year as their offensive line gets older. Cowboys are just gonna be the Cowboys, and then the Commanders. I like Jaden Daniels. Your guy's ceiling is as high as Jaden Daniels can play. Love Terry McLaurin. If you check out my YouTube videos, whenever the Giants play the Commanders, I do breakdowns of every game, and Terry McLaurin is one of my favorite non-Giants in the NFL. So I always give respect for him. But the thing is, that roster is aging, right? I think you had Bobby Wagner, you had like Austin Eckler, you had guys towards the back end of their career, um, which was probably smart for Jaden Daniels, and it got you guys to the uh, NFC Championship game his rookie season. But I think there's a lot of holes on that roster too, and I don't really like the coach too much. Do you see Jeremiah Love going to the Commanders? I don't. It wouldn't be a bad pick for the Commanders. I'm telling you that right now. Because who else is their running backs? Like they got rid of Brian Robinson, right? They traded him to the 49ers. It's Christian Rodriguez and Austin Eckler. Yeah, I would take Jeremiah Love if he's there. What pick do they have? They have 7. Yeah, that's not terrible. Yeah, if you guys join in on the chat, say what up. We're having fun. I want to make this as conversational and entertaining for whatever you guys want to talk about. Why is I wanted this to refresh. Okay. I had a thing on my screen that was showing on Giants pick 5 and 10. On my YouTube stream that was showing the picks, but it's not looking too great. Because I have to refresh it constantly. But I could probably do that. The Arizona Cardinals are on the clock and the pick is in. I can't tell with I'm a bit of an old cat in this regard. I kind of liked when the draft was Saturday and Sunday. I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday, just to get the primetime angle, it's a little much. Like, and I also liked when it was at Radio City. I thought it had cool New York energy to it. It's gonna be so annoying. Okay. What's his name? Mike Greeny and Golick talking about potentially Jeremiah Love going here. Yeah, I mean, this is a team that needs a lot of work to. Are there even like? I feel like I haven't even seen Cardinals fans anymore. I mean, they've been beaten down. I guess they got rid of Kyler Murray, who went to the Vikings. The pick is in. Who's their quarterback right now? Jacoby Brissett. Cardinals fans don't exist. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's been so like, yeah, I don't know what they're doing. They do have an ex-Giant. They have Will Hernandez, an ex-Giant, Gettleman great, Hog Molly. All right, Goodell making his way to the podium. I want Caleb Downs. Wow, Jeremiah Love. All right, thank God. Thank God he's off the board and not staring. Third overall pick, running back Jeremiah Love. Wow, it's a lot of pressure. Let's see if he's good. I hope he's good. I hope he's good for the Cardinals. I'd like to see the Cardinals be good again, but I am just so glad that pick's gone, so we don't have to defend it. So I'm happy. I'm happy right now. We needed that. I just didn't want to be back at like Giants fans getting PTSD of having to defend the Saquon pick and over, and this felt like time is a flat circle almost. But I don't know. People were saying they don't. I think Saquon was better in college and had a higher professional ceiling than Jeremiah Love does. I guess Jeremiah Love is better at catching passes out of the backfield, but having said that, I don't know. I think Saquon, like, he won't have a better career than Saquon. But Rob Saleh, Brian Dable on the clock for the Tennessee Titans, 4 overall. The Cardinals. Is that his high school team or something? Showing like Jeremiah. Oh, love being picked. Thanks for having it, bro. As Cardinals fans, I want a Caleb Downs. Just subbed, by the way. Thanks, I like trees. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm pretty happy that you guys just took him. And who did you want? You wanted Caleb Downs? I mean, as a Giants fan, I want him, but 3 maybe too high to take a safety. What's your Titans prediction? Now that changes, because I really would have liked to see the Titans take. I would have really liked to see the Titans take Jeremiah Love, because I would have liked it for Cam Ward. Not that, like, I don't know. Am I rooting for the Titans and Brian Dable to be successful? No, but I think Cam Ward's a good quarterback, and I think he deserves options in that offense, even though he got Wan'Dale Robinson and Daniel Bellinger. Yeah, maybe this is a Sonny Style spot. Rob Saleh's a defensive-minded masterpiece. You could ask Jets fans about that. I mean, who would you even want as your head coach? Rob Saleh or Brian Dable? I feel like they're both so interchangeable at that head coaching spot. Both probably good coordinators. But Rob Saleh's not really a good head coach. I'm sorry. I'm just going between both chats here on TikTok and YouTube. But George, what do you like for the Titans? I think it's just crazy because I feel like if there was a really good offensive tackle, like, they would be going around here. Did I enjoy Brian Dable? I think that's a pretty loaded question. I'll say yes and no. In the beginning, big balls, Brian Dable. I really loved it. His first season, 2022, he was going for it on fourth down all the time. And then as time went on, season over season, it got a little wonky. I think he would just run the same game plan. He wouldn't adjust to the players that he had, which is, for me, is what really makes a good coach a good coach, is you have to adjust to the players that you have and their skill sets. He didn't really do that. He would run Daniel Jones to the ground. He started doing it with Jackson Dart. And I think for me, what I really hated about Brian Dable was his demeanor on the sideline. And I don't know, I'm 37 years old, and maybe this makes me sound like a complete boomer, but when you're yelling and screaming at medical officials on the sideline, and like, he had really bizarre sideline behavior that is not what head coaches do, especially ones that win in the NFL. You tell me I'm wrong on it, I don't really care. It was probably one of my most commented videos that I did on YouTube, was talking about how I just really didn't like his sideline demeanor, especially in that Eagles game where Dart was in the medical tent and Brian Dable was screaming at the doctor to get Dart out of the tent. And Brian Dable was fined thousands of dollars for doing that. It was just very embarrassing to me, and I didn't like it. Is Malik Neighbors coming back in full form? No. Not off an ACL. No one really does that. It's going to take time. And that's why I think maybe you have a wide receiver in play here, because outside of Malik Neighbors, this Giants wide receiver room is brutal. And that's why you're also getting a lot of love for Odell, all of the Odell news recently. But I think with Neighbors going to need a year to come back, because when they opened up his knee and looked at what was in there, they said that there was a lot of junk in there. There was like years worth. Like, he probably could have gotten a knee scope before the last season. And then when they opened it up, they're like, oh man, this was really jacked up. So he's not going to come back in full form. Probably not till, I don't know, November. Here's a Titans pick. Let's see what they got here. Carnell Tate. Wow. Carnell Tate. Brian Dable getting a wide receiver, the first wide receiver off the board. Carnell Tate. Yeah, wide receiver all right. Now we're into Giants territory here. Caleb Downs. Come on down. I don't care if it's too early for a safety of 5. Carnell Tate, though, you know what the thing that I just didn't like about Carnell Tate is that, and this is me just being whatever. He wasn't the best wide receiver on his team, which is kind of crazy if you think about how talented, what's his name, Jeremiah Smith was or is. So at 4 overall, to be honest with you guys, with any of these wide receivers in this draft, I really didn't like any of them in the first round. Where like I'd be fine waiting for like Cooper from Indiana, Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M, Denzel Boston from Washington. Those were guys. I did a video about this recently, just talking about names in the second round at 37 overall that I like, and those were guys that I think fit in pretty well. But the Giants are on the clock here, so I'm pretty pumped. I think Caleb Downs, come on down. Let's do it. But here you go. Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles. Everyone right now that's currently on my draft big board on the bottom of the screen. Dude, you guys are going to take Caleb Downs, I'm guessing. I mean, John Harbaugh was singing Caleb Downs' praises very extensively. He used the words Patricia Trinia, or whatever her name is, called it out. She's like, I don't think John Harbaugh said anyone has Hall of Fame talent in this draft besides Caleb Downs. So the Giants are going to have their pick of the litter on guys that really I wanted. I didn't want Carnell Tate and I didn't want Jeremiah Love. So then it comes down to, do they want to do Sonny Styles and solidify inside linebacker, or do they want to go safety? And then, because I think the safety situation, Javion Holland, they paid him a lot of money. He's getting paid a lot of money, but the Giants secondary is still just an absolute joke, which is why like I can't imagine it happening. If you do Caleb Downs here and the cornerback from LSU at 10, you would just immediately solidified your secondary for some significant amount of time in the future. What are you guys thinking? What are you thinking? The pick is in. Pick's in for the G-Men. They're just milking it, doing some player interviews and stuff right now. How long have we been going for? 37 minutes? And we're up to the 5th pick. Chiefs have the 9th pick. That's weird. Yeah, because they finally had a down year. Downs or Tyson? I want Caleb Downs. Again, I'm not that big on Jordan Tyson. If he's there at 10, I'm fine with it. I would rather have someone with really high, who could start week 1, day 1, who has a nose for the ball, and is just a total defensive game changer. And I think that's what we'll get with Caleb Downs. And John Harbaugh's done a remarkable job with safeties over the years. Obviously, I'm not going to give John Harbaugh credit for someone like Ed Reed or something along those lines. But they did draft Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame recently, and he has had a pretty good start to his career. Here we go, Giants. Absolutely, George. Let's get it. Dude, appreciate all the likes and comments. You guys rolling with me tonight. Trying to make this as fun as possible if you guys are streaming along. So, let's see. Are they going to a commercial here? Oh my God. I have an ad for 3 minutes. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Because I got ESPN.com on my computer screen, watching it through there, and I'm like, God, please don't just, because ESPN Plus could be a little wonky, where they just start doing ads in the middle of things and games and stuff. Sucks for TikTok because I wanted it to be on my my background, set up everything, but you can't really see it because of the angle. But it's just 2 more minutes, so I'm hoping Caleb Downs, guys. I think he's the most pro ready guy. Immediately helps secondary. If it's Jordan Tyson at 5, I'm not going to be too happy. But if I had to prefer a pick, I would probably prefer Jordan Tyson over Jeremiah Love, just based on the fact that the Giants need wide receiver help. And I think Scatterbo coming off the injury at running back, and Tyrone Tracy is perfectly fine and good. I like Tyrone Tracy a lot. But I think wide receiver helps this team immediately, where running back, we're never really complaining about running backs being the issue. What do we complain about as Giants fans? Terrible secondary and offensive line. We could figure out running back later. I am gonna tune out of the chat for the next like 2 minutes because I just don't want to have anything spoiled. But here we go. We're 35 seconds left in this ad. Just trying to get my phone to charge, but that looks like it's going to be an impossibility. Yeah, and if you guys join in the chat, I'm definitely talking about all of your comments after this pick. If you do drop them down below, I don't want to have it spoiled for me because I've made it this far. So yeah, I mean, this is a huge pick for the Giants. They sucked last year really badly. They're drafting 5 overall. They won the 2 games at the end, beating the Raiders and the Cowboys to fall to 5. But this is someone who's going to have to be an immediate impact player. I think nothing better than pulling a safety. All right. They got some special guests out here. All right, cool. They bring out some salute to service family people. Saluting the troops and the fallen a little bit. I think this is their family members. Man, they're really gonna hit me in the feels right before this pick, huh? Kind of puts everything in perspective. We're just talking about stupid draft picks, and they lost their father. It's a pretty cool moment for the family. Arvell Reese. Okay. I was not thinking that, but he fell from 2 where the Jets were talking about him. I like it, honestly. We as Giants fans, we know we can never have too many pass rushers. If you go back to the days of Tuck, Osi, Strahan, they'll draft Kiwanuka. There can never be too many pass rushers for an elite defense. So I'm into it. He's younger, he's raw. I mean, you're looking at Brian Burns, Arvell Reese, Abdul Carter. The dogs are going to be eating. Maybe you could actually trade Kayvon Thibodeau here, and you get yourself a 3rd round pick or something along those lines. No downs, but you know what? If they liked Arvell Reese enough to draft him here, I'm totally cool with this decision. What do you guys think? I mean, especially after the season that Brian Burns had last year, it's interesting because Sonny, I guess, they probably watch a lot of these guys play between Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, Cardinal Tate, and Downs, right? Which is kind of crazy. Any of those guys could have been Giants, but they pulled the trigger on Arvell Reese. I'm happy with it, guys. I think we need dogs. Arvell Reese, dog. Watch Cleveland take downs for my Commanders. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone at the back end of like the between 5 and 10 are really looking for Downs. I love this pick. I really didn't even like look into Orville. I really didn't do that much research into Arvell Reese because I thought it was going to be a foregone conclusion that Reese was going to the Jets, and I didn't think they'd get him at 5. Is there a reason, now you're going to have a competition between Arvell Reese and David Bailey, whoever has a better career, that's now a Jets and Giants scenario playing out. Kind of similar to like Sam Darnold and Saquon, even though it's funny, both of them won Super Bowls, not with the team that drafted them. KC traded up. I wonder what they gave up. I think they take the top offensive lineman. I feel like the Chiefs always need offensive line help. Yeah, dogs. I'm into it. I'm into Arvell Reese. I think, they did their Harbaugh wants dogs. Defense just got better. Hopefully that means, the D coordinator will figure out ways to use all these guys because the last one, Shane Bowen, really didn't do a good job of that. But I'm in on Arvell Reese. I'm in. I'm sold. Let's do it. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out my charger situation. But they're going to take downs. Watch. Phone charger cord is like, look at this phone charger cord. So long and it's just wrapped around the chair. I've done this like 4 times already. Browns received the 9th overall, a 3rd and a 5th. It's probably not terrible for the Browns to just get some sort of things back. I guess my phone's just not going to charge, so we'll see. What do we have left here? 25%. Should get us to pick 10, and then I will probably be signing off after the Giants' second pick, just because I got a early morning tomorrow. So I'm not going to be live streaming, and also I'm not going to be able to do really any videos that I normally do, because I'm going to be on the road for the weekend and then fly back Sunday, and then it'll be Monday in the work week. But okay, so the Chiefs took Mansour Delane from the cornerback from LSU. I mean, I would have liked the Giants to get him if he was around at 10. I just can't even listen to Booger McFarland's voice, so I'm going to just mute it. Yeah, we got a football guy here, Bug. What do you think about the Reese pick? I like it, Anthony. It wasn't what I was expecting, right? I thought Caleb Downs was going to be locked in there, but we got another dog on defense, and better than anyone else as Giants fans. We've had some of our best years when we have really good edge rushers, and that makes everyone's life easier. And now Denard Wilson, as a new defensive coordinator, has a brand new shiny toy to play with. after the toy of Abdul Carter coming last year. Maybe Downs will drop. Yeah, I mean, possibly. You know, there is the positional value of drafting a safety, but I think you're probably getting into it now that you took the Commanders. Who did the Commanders draft? Oh, their pick is in. They're just showing Mansour Delaney with Goodell now. Jets trade Geno Smith to Taco Bell for a quesadilla and soggy nachos. That's a pretty good deal. Love Taco Bell. Some comments were filtered to protect the community experience. Man, you guys doing naughty things in there? But yeah, so no, I had Taco Bell for the first time in a while the other night, and I always like to think outside the bun. You feel me, dog? Okay, so the Commanders are up. What happened to my one boy who's in the chat who was a Commanders fan? Because he might be happy that Downs is there. But now I'm thinking I'm not opposed to Reese pick at all. Kayvon's probably out now, I assume. Even if he's not, you know, I would like to see the Giants get something for Kayvon Thibodeaux because regardless after this season, there's just not enough money to go. Like the Giants do have money, but they're not going to pay Kayvon Thibodeaux now that they already have a Brinks truck out for Brian Burns. Abdul Carter's going to have to get paid in a couple of years if he's successful in this league and has a better career than Kayvon Thibodeaux did. And then now Arvell Reese. So, you know, Kayvon Thibodeaux had every single chance to play to where he was drafted, right? At 5 overall. So, yeah, I'm totally fine to trade Thibodeaux. I wouldn't mind doing it for a 3rd round. And, you know, we might rag on it and saying, oh, that's what you we got. But if that's what the market is saying that people would give up for Kayvon Thibodeaux, knowing that you're going to have to pay him as he is a free agent at the end of this season, then would you guys rather get something back than just letting him walk for nothing? And then also getting rid of Thibodeaux now, if you could get a 3rd round in this draft, great, because we still need bodies at right guard, at corner, at safety. And then it will allow Abdul Carter to start, which he should have probably been last season. And then now you have Arvell Reese in the mix as well. So I think we got to get something for him. I think we use Tibbs in a trade package tomorrow night to get another 2nd or 3rd. Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. I don't think the second, I just based on what I was reading and seeing for everything, it didn't seem like people wanted to give up a 2nd round pick for Kayvon Thibodeaux. And I don't know, maybe they should have traded him last year. No, actually, Thibodeaux had no trade value because he didn't have a good season, and then he was hurt and missed like the last 7 games. So, or whatever, however many games he missed. But it's also like he doesn't do much when he plays anyway, and he's had every opportunity to be successful in New York. Hasn't taken advantage of where the Giants drafted him at. Yes, we have to get something for him. I agree, but I mean, we'll have to see what other people give up. You know, a 3rd. If I would say right now, if you get a call for a 3rd for Thibodeaux, take it. All right, here's the Commander's pick. Sonny Styles. All right. Where I do like the Sonny Styles pick for the Commanders is that you are going to pair him with Bobby Wagner, future Hall of Famer, or just let him learn from him how to be an NFL inside linebacker. I think it's a great pick for the Commanders. And Giants fans, we're going to see him a lot. So that's funny. His market's so questionable. I mean, him in a 5th for a 2nd lay round. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows? I'm not drinking any more coffee. Drink some coffee before. Why is the chat doing this to me? All right. Does New Orleans need a safety? Yeah, I think I saw something about I'm picking Silas Stux. He's great. Yeah, I mean, Anthony, that was the whole thing too with Sonny Styles was he seems pretty raw. Combine freak, right? I did a video about him, his combine. Was pretty locked in there in that regard. But I think he's a little bit more unpolished than some of these other guys. New Orleans need a safety. I think I saw something, John. I think I saw something recently today that was potentially talking about the Saints wanting to trade up for Caleb Downs. So, and I think that here's the thing too. I think didn't the Saints suck last year, even though they beat the Giants. If you guys remember the Saints Giants game, the Giants were winning, and then they had like 6 out of 7 of the final drives in the second half of the game ended in either like a fumble, an interception, turnover on downs. It was actually ridiculous. Dart had that terrible fumble. Scatterbo had a fumble for 6 as they were going in to score a touchdown. Yeah, that was a brutal game. How do we feel about Reese Nick? Dude, I'm pretty pumped. Like I said, we all know as Giants fans, the more pass rushers we have, the better we have done. Got a new toy for Denard Wilson. I'm a huge fan of it. Saints pick is in. Let's see what they do. I feel like the Saints need so much help too. I don't even know. Like they had their quarterback, Tyler Shaw, who whenever I would post about Jackson Dart being offensive rookie of the year, the comments were always like killing me about Tyler Shaw. NASCAR packages the pass rush. John, you smart devil, you. I mean, you know, the thing that they got to figure out in this draft, Ethan, I'm happy the Giants took Reese. Yeah, I'm with you, bro. The thing that we have to be wary about here, and the Giants probably need to pull the trigger on in the second round at 37 overall, is probably taking a D tackle. DJ Reader has been in the building. Is he Dexter Lawrence? No. And Dexter had his flaws, right? And so did the defense. So hopefully, okay, but I'm going to go now. If you're ending after 10, great live, great content. Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate you dropping in, dude. Yeah, I'm going to go after the 10th pick for sure. I got a big day tomorrow. I think we're going to draft Tyson if Downs isn't there, Nick. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of smoke, right? For that. If there's smoke, there's fire. The Saints are up. They're picking 8th. So let's see what we got here. I feel like this is going pretty quick, though, because the draft started at 8, and it's not even been live for almost an hour. Yeah, I think Tyson's fine at 10. I just didn't want to do it at 5, especially with the injury history. Yeah, 8-minute wait. Yeah, no, I know. I think they're like gonna make it shorter. Maybe they did it this year. It used to be 10, then it's 8. I don't know. I mean, I'm not against picking if they think a wide receiver is great or a good option, because even though I think you get a wide receiver in the second round, so it's like, if Caleb Downs is here, do you take Caleb Downs and immediately have a better defense? Or do you go guard, the Penn State guard at 10, or the Miami tackle? Because one thing we can't also have is a regression on the offensive line. So there's a lot to think about for this pick coming up. All right, they're back on commercials. Who do you guys want at 10? Yeah, John, I'm with you, bro. If Downs is there, let's do it. And then, you know, if you go Downs, then you probably got to take the Oregon guard at 37 if he's there. Or maybe one of the wide receivers like Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, Omar Cooper. I like that guy from Indiana, Omar Cooper. So maybe you could take him. But again, does he really move do any of these guys move the needle when Malik Neighbors is coming back from an ACL injury? I'm not quite sure. I but I'm pumped. I'm pumped about Arvell Reese. I'm gonna have to. I'm not gonna be able to dive into the weeds as I normally would like to. Get the guard at 37 with downs at 10. Draft success. Yeah, John. I mean, that you hit the nail on the head. You get 2 more starters. Is everything fixed? No, but it's a lot better than it was yesterday. And that's really all you could do in the draft, right? You can't solve everything in free agency. You have the draft, and then got to have a little bit of faith here that the Giants can finally start finding some diamonds in the rough, which I feel like they haven't been able to do in quite some time. Whether that's guys later in rounds or, I mean, I guess last year you had Scotabo in the 4th round. Year before that, you had Tyrone Tracy Jr. in the 5th. But I feel like outside of that, like they just don't find those diamonds in the rough, like a Victor Cruz or, someone that could come in and have high level success. We had to fix the defense. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think the defense will also fix itself pretty substantially with a new defensive coordinator in Denard Wilson. Which they needed to do. You're a coach, so wish we got tape, but he went 3rd. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't too bad. Oh, someone joined my flying club. Thank you. If you did, I don't know what that was. Oh, thanks, coach. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I really have not been that big on any of the wide receivers in the top 10. If now that we moved up to 10, we'll see if Carnell Tate was there at 10. I'd probably be cool with it. But I think I'm happy with the Giants doing Reese at 5. Because the defense just got better. And how many more games did the Giants win last year with a defensive coordinator with a brain? A bunch, right? So we got that. Defense just got better. Let's see what the Saints do here. Goodell is on the podium. Okay, Jordan Tyson off the board, going to the Saints at 8 overall. So there you go. Tyson is gone from the Giants draft board officially. I think we're getting the other Ohio State DB at 10. Yeah, I'm super into Caleb Downs at 10, coach. Who's picking 9 here? Who's picking 9? The Browns. What are the oh my god, the Browns are picking 9th. What are they gonna do here? What are the Browns gonna do? We did sign 3.2 mil for OBJ. That just happened. If there's why would they do $3.2 million for Odell? He should be like on an absolute league minimum. I don't know. I'm just trying to look at the news. If you could find the link, send it to me or whatever. Can't find that here, but 3.2 would be a lot for Odell, dude. This questions come up a lot tonight. I love Odell, but he's probably pretty cooked. Like, there's no reason to spend $3.2 million for him. Like, what was his last contract? Odell Beckham Jr. contract. Jordan Tyson. That's a Saints pick, dude. That Jordan Tyson as a wide receiver is a Saints pick. His last contract with the Miami Dolphins was $3 million. So he's not going to touch $3 million. Yeah. Odell didn't play last year, so 2024, his last contract with the Dolphins was $3 million in guaranteed money with a $1.7 million signing bonus. So maybe 3. I mean, he would get the absolute minimum. Yeah. Whatever the minimum vet is, that's what he'll get. And he'll be happy too. He could finally ride off into the sunset, do some one-handed grabs before games, feel like a kid again with Scottaboo and Dart and all the young talent that's here, even though Odell is a part of a chapter. The Giants chapter that he's a part of is a losing one, and I I think with Harbaugh, Dart, Scadaboo, Carter, all these new young studs, I think it was time to kind of close a previous Odell chapter. If they wanted to do it and bring Odell in, they should have just did it a couple years ago when like the team sucked anyway. Like do it for the 100th anniversary where you set a record for losing like a shitload of games, but not now. 750K is minimum. Yeah. Because he wants to retire Giant, it would be great with the rookies. Yeah, there's two sides of it, right? Like Odell has always been unequivocally loved by all of his teammates. He's a great locker room guy. I mean, the only one who probably didn't like him was probably at the end was Eli when Odell did the Lil Wayne interview on ESPN that time, and he was kind of like trashing Eli. I didn't like that, but Eli definitely probably took the higher road because that's just Eli's personality. Yeah, and Odell's at the end of his career. He knows it's over. He didn't play last season. And it's not, no one is expecting him to be peak Odell, which was very special. Yeah, he definitely did. I'm not going to pretend like I didn't like him. I did like him a lot. I think, I've spoke about Odell specifically on the last live that I did, but I'll say it again. I think he's one of the best football players I've ever seen play in person. Because he's just one step faster than everyone else on the field, and he could single-handedly win games. Where like Saquon could do a little of that, but I think Odell was just way more of an explosive playmaker that would really single-handedly put the team on his back and win games. The Browns pick. What the hell are the Browns going to do here? With the 9th pick, the Cleveland Browns select quarterback Carson Beck. No, I'm just kidding. Eli's untouchable after him. Yeah, I think that was the end of it. The Lil Wayne interview. I remember being I think I was like on a vacation or something, and like I saw the Lil Wayne photo with Odell, and I actually thought it was like an SNL skit, or like, I probably, if it was happened today, I would have been like, oh, that's AI. I couldn't believe it was a real thing. All right, here's the Brown pick. See what they do. Wow, so they took the offensive tackle from Utah over the Miami player. Wow. Good pick for the Browns. They need help on the offensive line. I'm wondering why they like Spencer Fano over Moyoga. Downs. Let's go. Caleb Downs. Let's do it. If we don't do Caleb Downs, hear me out on this. I'm in for the Miami tackle, but I would love Caleb Downs here. Here we go. The picks in, right? John, what'd you say before? It was 8 minutes in between picks, but I feel like the ESPN broadcast and this being in primetime, they're trying to like extend it a little bit because these picks are coming in so fast. This is like a fantasy football draft. All right, my phone's at 10%. Giants know what they want. Hope so. Harbaugh will be really aggressive. Yeah, I agree with the coach. Yeah, and you know what? If the Giants come out of this draft with Arvell Reese and Caleb Downs, huge W for me. Oh, shit. Goodell's already walking back out. All right. I love you guys in the chat. Drop your feedback as it comes through. I'm just going to focus because I don't want to get spoiled. 10th pick. Okay, they took the O tackle from Miami. I'm totally fine with that because they could also play this guy at guard. Here's the thing why I wanted this offensive tackle for the Giants and had him on my board of someone that I liked is because of that flexibility from guard. Jermaine Illuminor, I believe, can play some guard, but I think this guy will play guard to start. And I think here's the big thing. Andrew Thomas is going to get a payday, I think, sooner than later. We'll extend him. They just re-signed Illuminor, but This is neither of those guys are going to be around forever. We can't have a regression with the offensive line. Jackson Dart going into his sophomore season after one good year. There's room to improve here. You have Andrew Thomas, John Runyon Jr., not that great. John Michael Schmitz, not that great. Huge hole at right guard between Evan Neal and Daniel Falele. Now that could be plugged with this guy from Miami, and then you still have Jermaine Illuminor on the right tackle side. I'm fine with it. Miami's trade their pick to Dallas. I wonder what they have to give up, but this is Dallas is probably going to take Caleb Downs, but I'm fine with this pick, guys, because one thing that cannot happen is a regression with the offensive line, and we can't be spoiled into one good season of an offensive line. Remember 2 years ago, what they have 84 sacks given up, or 3 years ago, Daniel Jones died. Tommy DeVito is getting knocked out. Tyrod Taylor couldn't make it through. Like, there have been like 4 quarterbacks this season getting hurt because the offensive line was so bad. So I'm totally fine beefing up the offensive line, because you know what I said earlier when I first started this stream is, when we would complain as Giants fans, are we complaining about a running back? No. Are we complaining about a wide receiver? No. What do we complain about? Shitty cornerbacks in secondary, or just bad defense and bad offensive line. The Giants got better on setting the edge, which should theoretically help the secondary, that we get to the passer better, and then immediately getting another just stinky boy up front for the offensive line. The hog mollies. I like it. TJ says, damn, coach. Big upgrade on both sides. Yeah, I agree with the coach. And I was going to say, I like it. These are the picks that you got to do top 10. Wide receiver, unless they're like a really game-breaking wide receiver, I don't think... I didn't think it was there. Sorry, they're interviewing our boy now, Maui Goa. Yeah, give me a huge Samoan from the U. Like, this is, and he also played, he played in a lot of big games throughout his college career, playing at the cream of the crop, playing good teams. And this was a guy who was at the top of draft boards for every single mock, for a reason. So he's legitimate. But I will say one thing is, for the offensive line, probably the hardest position to adjust to from college to the NFL the last decade has been offensive linemen. The Giants have reached extensively on trying to figure this out. If we go back, we talk about Eric Flowers, Will Hernandez, Evan Neal is obviously the biggest one, and they still have issues with it, right? But now you could bring this guy in with new, hopefully offensive line coaches, right? And build on it and not regress in that regard, especially with Jackson Dart going into his sophomore season. That's the biggest thing for me with this pick is we couldn't move into a new season and have a regression up front with a young quarterback that would crush his confidence, even though he could run. So who are we getting at 37? Now that really, I did a video about this because I thought for sure. I did a video on who we wanted in the second round because the Giants don't have a third round pick. And, now you can get your option on wide receiver. You have Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, Omar Cooper Jr. I like those options. Probably not going to take Emmanuel Pregnon, the Oregon guard. I would have liked him at 37. Or one of the D tackles. Maybe the D tackle from Texas Tech. I think there was a Georgia D tackle. But yeah, no, if you guys join in the chat, thank you guys so much for joining in, commenting. Really appreciate it. This made it a lot of fun. I'm excited. I'll echo what I said when I was getting started earlier tonight. Couldn't be more excited and optimistic for the future of the Giants for 2 reasons: John Harbaugh and Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart's a legitimate quarterback. I think the defense just got better with Arvell Reese. The offensive line got shored up a little bit more. Maioga, I got to figure out how to say his name. I feel like I'm turning into a boomer like my dad, where I just can't pronounce anyone's names anymore. But we got better than we were yesterday. We felt. I don't say Reese fills a hole, but if he's the best player that the Giants had on their board at 5 overall, then just pull the trigger. But what do you guys think? Anything else? It's funny now. I'm like about to piss my pants and oops, about to wrap it up because my phone's gonna die and I got to get on the road. But this was pretty fun. The draft going from we got through 10 picks in an hour. That was pretty sweet. And if you guys like this, come back. I'm not going to be able to do one for the tomorrow or Saturday. I'm going to be out of town. I got a little bachelor party down in Florida. So that'll be fun. But dude, our picks were ass. We should have went down second pick, Michelle. I knew someone was going to come in and start hating on it. No, our picks aren't ass. We need offensive line help. We got better there. I don't know. I thought Downs was going to be a done deal. I'm not going to lie on that front, but I'm not going to sit here. Yeah, I'm not going to sit. Anthony, to your point, I'm not going to sit here and be pissed off. The Giants are a better team today than they were yesterday, and hopefully by Monday, they've taken more steps in that direction. So, all right, with that, I'm going to jump. I hope you guys enjoy watching the rest of the first round. Maybe the Giants make some. That's fine. You can have your opinion, Michelle. I hope you guys can enjoy watching the rest of tonight. I don't think the Giants will trade back into the first round because that would probably take a lot of equity to do so. But maybe Kayvon Thibodeau is a name that someone might want to trade for, and then that gets us picked somewhere else. Skill position holds are easier to fill. 100% agree with you. Downs was the pick, but I'm not going to be pissed about Myogi's talented too. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you more. Yep. I'm not going to be mad about ever getting the offensive line better. Because if you think that drafting offensive line is ass and sucks, I beg you to go back and watch low lights of the offensive line when Daniel Jones died, when Tommy DeVito died, when all of those guys were getting killed because the offensive line was so bad. And people wanted to blame the O-line coach. It wasn't his fault. It was they had shitty guys on top of the bad coaching. The Cowboys took Downs. Sorry, I can't even see. But again, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm about to piss my pants. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you again for the comments. Thank you for the likes. If you subscribed, really appreciate it. Yeah, and have a great weekend, y'all. Or I guess happy Friday, Junior. So, happy Friday. Peace.